she starts off with the 4-pound pork shoulder and cuts them into these semi-large chunks. I think mine might have been a little bit over 4 pounds, but it worked out. So then I have something like this. Then in a large pan, she adds 1 pound of lard and lets it melt completely. She then proceeds to add 5 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of fresh ground pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, and 5 whole cloves. And then just give that a nice stir. She then adds some, not all of the pork cuts, and cooks them for about 4 to 5 minutes, allowing them to brown. And then after the 4 to 5 minutes, you're gonna flip them over and brown the other side for another 4 to 5 minutes. And this is me just flipping them over. So after the first batch is finished browning, this is me just pulling out the pork cuts and putting it off to the side so that I can work on my second batch, as you see here. And next, she reduces the heat down to a medium-low. A quick pause. Please be careful with this next step and make sure the temperature has completely cooled down to medium-low, otherwise it can get very smoky and possibly dangerous. She then adds a 1/2 cup of water, 1 cup of evaporated milk, and 12 ounces of Mexican Coke, which I feel like is a necessity, the juice of 1 orange, and make sure it's clean because the peels do go in just like so, and nestle in 1/2 of a white onion. She also calls for 5 garlic cloves, but I just used the head of a garlic, as well as 4 bay leaves. And I didn't have any fresh herbs, so I used dried and added 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of thyme, and 1 teaspoon of rosemary. She then adds the rest of the meat into the pan and gives it a quick stir to get everything nice and combined. And as you can see, my pan was barely big enough for all of the liquid, but it did hold up. Now she says to cook this for about 2 hours and every 15 minutes to move the meat around so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So this is a glimpse of me moving the meat around. And I just want to say, look at the color. This is 2 hours after cooking it. I'm just taking out all of the meat and getting into a bowl, and look how beautiful. So now I'm just taking the time to get my carnitas meat nice and shredded so that it looks something like this. I then went ahead and steamed some tortillas, and then I added in my carnitas filling into the inside. I topped it off with some white onion, of course, some cilantro. I added lime and salsa, and this was the final result.